I hope we promoted well enough. Yeah, we will. I would kind of expect this one to be a little bit light tonight.
Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's a Wednesday night, but as you can see, we were granted a nice space here in this bar to bring you the Draft House live. Now, granted, I had to drag these guys out to help me get this desk in here, but they were willing participants. There you go, Toby. That's right, showing the muscles. It was all Jimbo. He did it all. But no,
I appreciate that.
like I said, we're a little bit different tonight. We're setting up a different, like with the off season being in, we're going to be doing mainly focusing on the draft tonight. But before we get too much into it, Jimbo, what you got?
It's your boy Jimbo Dean, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy Obama. You can call me any one of those you want, but please do not call me no New Orleans Saints fan. Terry F. Baby has spoken. Toby, what's going on, big dog?
Hey, player, I'm excited about this tonight, boy. Y'all know y'all got me fired up on that them texts today at work, and I ain't supposed to even be texting at work. Don't y'all be watching this at work, by the way, that you gonna get me. But I ain't supposed to be watching them texts or anything, man. Y'all got me fired up, so I couldn't wait for this tonight. What's going on, Big Mike?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We can't hear Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Uh-oh. Anyway, okay, well, as Mike tries to figure out his issues, like I said, we're going to start off with the Terry Fontenot deal. If y'all didn't see this on Twitter, it was a tweet out by Kelly Conway, I believe is her name, the reporter for the Atlanta Falcons. It was a quote from Fontenot that said, where we want to really address the positional needs, that's going to be more so with signing veteran players, whether that's in free agency right away or even after the draft. Free agency or trades, those are the times you can address specific needs. In the draft, you really have to focus on finding players you love that have the right skill set, the right makeup, the right intelligence. Smart, tough, competitive football players with the right skill set. You have to take the best player available. If you don't, and if you start reaching for needs in the draft, Thomas Dimitrov, you're going to get yourself into trouble. We can't do that. Now, we have to have heightened sense of awareness of the needs. Again, we're going through the process right now, identifying our specific must needs and wants at each position. Also getting the coaches to be specific and detailed on exactly what we're looking for. It's our job as scouts to go out and find. But in the draft, you just have to take the best player available that really fits the skill set and makes a makeup of what you're looking for in the Falcons. So that was an interesting piece of information that he gave out there, talking about like filling needs through veteran means, which was an interesting take in my opinion. But he really felt like he really doubled down on the best player available mantra again. What did y'all get out of that?
Now I'll tell you what I loved about that. I see right now that Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith are going to be like Google. You ask the right question, you're gonna get the right answer. You ask a broad question, you're gonna get broad answers. And when you ask about Matt Ryan and Julio Jones' future, you get broad.
Mm-hmm.
The draft. I mean, we may not be able to do much until after the draft because of our cap situation, but we shall see if we're able to, get some second tier, third tier, veterans to help their specific needs on March 17th or after that.
No, I completely agree. Jimmy, what did you take away from what Terry said? Y'all have to forgive us. We're having a little bit of trouble with Mike dropped out for a second. Yeah. So if I seem a little distracted, that's why. So, but anyway, Jimmy, what you got on as far as commenting on Fontenot?
I mean, this is the thing with Terry. I don't know, is Terry blowing smoke, selling wolf tickets?
Right.
They being very selective on their words and how they and their word placement and on how they do things, and I think that is good because a new regiment don't nobody know exactly. I mean, nobody across the NFL don't know exactly what the Atlanta Falcons gonna do. Right. We can do mock drafts, we can do all this good old stuff, but we still don't know. Right. And for him to keep putting smoke and mirrors up there, I think that's a beautiful thing. But he's sticking with the BPA though, which I think that's about the only strongly significant thing we can get out what Terry Fontenot is putting out of the flowery branch. Yeah. I think that's about the only thing we can really get out of there. And for him to go free agency to address some parts and here and there, he I don't know, man. It's kind of seemed like to me that he's blowing smoke. But if he is good, that way the competitive and the young people like to call them ops. Good, those ops are behind us, and they're gonna have to play catch up, and maybe hopefully around about the fifth game they're gonna be playing catch up, and hopefully we'll be 4-1 or 5-0 by then. But whatever Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith and them cooking up over there in that pot, they are doing an outstanding job at doing that, and their PR department is coming along very well. I guess that's what Terry wanted. That's how Terry wanted, and that's the way Terry's getting it right now.
No, yeah, I think so. That was something. Okay. Sorry, I believe we, like I said, still trying to deal with the situation here. Mike, are you? I see you back. Can I hear you now?
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we're good again.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. A little audio trouble.
It's all good. Hey, things are gonna happen. And that's why we have to adjust on the fly, just like the coaching staff.
Yes, sir.
You have to make those in-game adjustments. And that's
right.
And that's what we're going to try to do here. But we're going to try to push on.
Hey, I tell you guys like this. If the coaching staff works like this, we're going to be in for a good season because that's how you pick a man up. When a man is down and a man is out, another guy feels and steps right in. Right. So if the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff is as cohesive as this Pound for Pound family, we're gonna be in for a good season.
Well, that's all we can hope for. That's all we can hope for. But all right, so back to the Fontenot and his in his philosophy. The more interesting thing at this junction is that we have no groundwork for what Fontenot has done. Like none whatsoever. Like, yes, you can look at New Orleans, but Fontenot was in charge of pro personnel, okay? And also keep in mind that in that scenario, Mickey Loomis was the one pulling triggers. Mickey Loomis had final say, right? So we don't know how many times Fontenot walked into his office and said, look, I got this great idea. And Mickey was like, look, I appreciate you, Terry, but we're going to do this. Now it's full on Terry's show, right? It is full on Mr. T-Font's show. So this offseason, this draft is going to be wild in the sense of we have no expectations, or we shouldn't have. And so at this junction, nothing should really surprise us,
Right.
So what we're going to do now is this is the Draft House Live, right? This is not our typical Pound for Pound Live. That will happen next Wednesday. As we have said before, we're bouncing back and forth from normal Pound for Pound Live to Draft House, So
Right.
This week is Draft House. So what I did, as now this is my first official time on the Draft House, so I appreciate you guys letting me and Toby jump in with y'all. We're very
Good
much
to see y'all.
y'all
Good
were
to see y'all.
holding it down. You and Mike were holding it down, but we appreciate y'all letting us crash your show here. So I felt like I was going to try to spice it up a little bit, right? So everybody knows all these mock draft simulators that everybody loves to play with, whether it's FanSpeak or Pro Football Network's mock draft or the Draft Network's mock draft. So what I did is this week I went with Draft Network. Okay, if y'all aren't following them on Twitter, I suggest you do. They put out a lot of good content. So I went to the Draft Network's mock simulator, and I simulated the first 2 rounds. Okay, I didn't pick these guys. All right, I hit simulate, so y'all don't come at me. All right, okay. So with the 4th overall pick in the 2021 draft, so we're just going to jump on into this, right? The Atlanta Falcons chose through a simulator, not through me. Just keep that in mind. Through a simulator, the Atlanta Falcons chose quarterback Justin Fields out of Ohio State. So that was our 4th overall pick. Now, scroll right on down to the second round pick. The Atlanta Falcons chose the tight end out of Penn State, Pat Freiermuth. I have no clue how to say that man's last name. Y'all know how bad.
And I ain't gonna
try. So Pat F.
You did all right. You did all right.
Pat F, the tight end out of Penn State. So that's our first 2 picks. Already solidified, not by my hands, not by any hands on this desk up here. That was by the simulator. But the challenge that I wanted to present with these guys is with the first 2 rounds already picked, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper. Y'all have done about 5 or 6 episodes of the Draft House already, and I felt like y'all have covered the first 2 rounds real well. Okay, giving a lot of real good, like a lot of real good different scenarios from trade downs, and we're going to explore more of those as the off season goes on, as we do free agency and stuff like that. But like I said, I wanted to take a closer look at the 3rd and 4th rounds, right? So I challenged each of us to provide 2 players, a 3rd round pick and a 4th round pick, and we're going to serve them up. We're going to talk about them. We're going to see what the chat has to say about them. And we're just going to see how this flows, right?
I know they're ready.
Yeah,
It's on.
they're already getting mad at me for the simulator picking Justin Fields. It's not my fault. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not my fault.
I thought it was going to be the tight end first. So is anybody upset about the tight end? I'm sure they're going off about the tight end. Well,
Stu the Pepperhead told me, or just put in the chat, it says Freiermuth. Freiermuth is how you pronounce the man's last name. So Pat Freiermuth. So that's the tight end. Now I will say this: I wasn't upset with that pick. Like I was doing some research on some other stuff and come across his highlight video that was quite literally labeled "Baby Gronk."
Uh-oh.
And so, if that's the case, I'll take it, right? I mean, I don't know much about him. Stu's telling me that the tight end is a reach. And now, Speed is saying you guys should make the pick. I see where you're going at there, Speed. I was trying to, at least this time around, give a little bit of a little bit of mystery, so to speak, a little bit of uncertainty, something like out of our hands. But
right.
Regardless, Toby, I want you to start it off. On
come on.
And so who is your we're gonna do 3rd round and then we'll go into 4th round. Okay, so who is your 3rd round pick?
So I'm gonna say this first. Somebody was riding on the train with me all of a sudden, until the last minute today, decided to jump off and probably tore their ACL getting off the train.
Oh no.
But that's all right. I'm still going with my guy out of Syracuse, Andre Cisco, safety, hybrid safety linebacker, 6 foot, 203 pounds, 13 interceptions, okay, in the 2 years that he did play fully. Now, he did miss a couple of games, I think, in 2019, and he missed pretty much the season in 2020 with a torn ACL. But I got 2 names for you. And we talked about this, Tank Carradine and Jalen Smith. What do both of those guys have in common? You didn't think about the Jalen Smith one, did you? No. Did you, Mike? I see it on the face over there. Both of those guys had ACL issues and still got drafted in the 2nd round. Okay, now here's a guy, got a torn ACL. Yes, he does, but he's been out since, October 12th. ACL injuries are not like they used to be, fellas. Guys are recovering much quicker now. We saw that with Keanu Neal when he came back in about 6-7 months' time and ended up starting the season off before tearing his Achilles, unfortunately. But I do believe that this is a guy that you do not want to allow to slip too far and not take him. If he's the guy on your board at best player available, which we just talked about, and you don't pick this guy up and give him that time to do what he needs to do, especially if we're going to be going after veteran presence as far as addressing some of our specific needs at that safety spot. You got time to let this guy do what he do.
Right.
My 4th round guy.
We're gonna go all the way. We're gonna go all the way, and then we'll come back to the 4th round. Okay.
Okay.
So, you fired up though.
And wait a minute now. And wait a minute now, Toby. Wait a minute. Let's talk about Andre Cisco because I don't know who it was a couple weeks ago. They asked Jimbo and I to do a video on Andre Cisco. So that's really when it started to kind of pique our curiosity. I started to look at a lot of tape on this guy. And Toby, I was like you until about 10:30 last night. Because let me tell you what I saw on film from this guy. Hey, let me tell you what I saw on film from this guy, Toby. I saw a guy that when I looked at, I hate to use the Earl Thomas comparisons and stuff like that. But when I saw a guy that, it's 2 things that sticks out to me. He would be just as good a strong safety as he would a free safety. You know what I mean? That's first. And I think his ability, his instincts jump, right out. And every quarterback that's a name in the ACC, he's made a play against him. Trevor Lawrence, I've seen him. I've seen the big quarterbacks in the ACC, and I've seen him make big plays time and time again. And don't get me wrong, ball hawk. And I think the knock on him that I heard was that he's not a willing tackler. If you look at his highlight tape, you will see some plays where he has separated the receiver from the ball. He's filled holes. I think that I like everything about the fact, with the exception of the ACL. I just think that we need a free safety that can come in and be ready to roll in Dean Pease, defense, because we're going to be asking a lot out of our safeties. Because if you think about it, with Ricardo Allen potentially leaving the Falcons, that was a lot of brain trust, if you will, in the defense, right. So we're going to be replacing a lot of communication, period. So I would feel like we need a safety that is going to be able to communicate and also be ready to go from day one. And I'm not sure with the ACL if I'm quite ready to go on Cisco, but Toby, I definitely think that if we drafted this guy, I'd be willing to wait until, he comes back, bounces back. But that doggone Andre Cisco is definitely a ball hawk. I know before we give our picks and all the guys, Jimbo, what you got on this guy? Because I know,
Hey, look here, man. Hey, look here. So when I did my mock draft when it came to 3rd, I picked my pick, and I'll get into that later. But I passed on Cisco, and it's simply because he's good. Don't get me wrong, but he get caught out of position a lot. But since he's so good and so athletic, it makes up for it. Now look, if you get caught out of position in the NFL against an Aaron Rodgers or against a Tom Brady, against a, so forth, you're done. You can do it in college, but you cannot do it in the NFL. That's ball game, right? So that's my only thing. He got caught out, but him getting caught out of position got him a lot of turnovers as well, which was a lot of a tip ball interception. You know who that is, don't you, JR? A lot of tip ball, ball. But there you go. And KZ led the nation in interception, and Cisco did the same thing, which tell me they be late to the party, But if something happened, they capitalize on it.
Right.
But and Cisco is just a bigger version of that. But he also, with his athletic ability, he recovered very well in college. Recovery skills in the NFL kind of don't exist. Once you get caught out of position, you out of position. You dead in the water. So now that kind of my thought on it.
Get Toby a chance. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead, Toby.
Just quickly, because I knew that was going to be a vantage point that you guys was going to bring up. What does that Syracuse defense bring?
Say again now.
You got me, Toby.
They suck. They suck. It takes all 11 guys on a team. So when you the best guy on the team and you're playing a rover position, which basically has you covering the best player on the team because nobody else on that team can cover some of the guys that you are capable of covering at a reportedly 4.33 speed, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
But see, I understand what you're saying, Toby, but if you get guy position, right, your read step for a safety is back first and you come forward first, that you're dead in the water in the NFL. Pease can help him work on that. I understand where you're coming from. But maybe he got that way. It's just muscle memory for him now. And he played in the ACC. I don't know about ACC safeties, but yes, I do. But anyways, if your read step come forward first off of muscle memory and you're doing that a lot and you're using your athletic ability to get back in position, you're going to be a Ricardo Allen or KZ. We already got them on. Well, some of them might not be on the team, but you see where I'm going with that. Yeah, KZ is a free agent, but your read step first, you're a safety. You don't need to come forward first. You need to get back first, and that's just me watching film, not his highlight tape, ladies and gentlemen. I watch the highlight tape.
Right.
All right.
No, I feel where you're coming from. Yeah, I just disagree with that because. When you're overcompensating for 10 other players on the defense, that's why you look so good as you do, and that's why you have 13 interceptions.
That's great.
You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying.
I got you.
That's a great point, Toby.
All right.
We're gonna fire it up. Love it.
We're gonna move on down. We're gonna keep the show rolling. Mike, I'm gonna call on you. Who do you got for your 3rd round pick?
Okay, so 3rd round pick, like I said, until about 10:30 last night, I was with Toby D. We were on the Andre Cisco train. I hopped right off the Andre Cisco train, and I went to a familiar family. And this is a family like, listen, Pound for Pound family, you need to get familiar with the Surratt family because Sage Surratt and Chaz Surratt are going to be 2 brothers that are, I think, going to take the NFL by storm at different positions. You know, Sage Surratt is a receiver from Wake Forest. The linebacker who I'm drafting is his brother, Chaz Surratt, 6'3", 225, former quarterback, came to UNC Chapel Hill as a quarterback, converted to linebacker after a talk with Mack Brown. I think what's the interesting story about this guy is he told Mack Brown he wanted to make it to the NFL. He didn't know what position was going to work out. He didn't know how he was going to make it, if it was receiver, tight end. They felt like it was a good move for him to go to linebacker. He went on to be all ACC. I think co-defensive player of the year one year. Instinctual guy, a guy that's able to diagnose plays. I always like those converted quarterbacks when they go and do well at other positions because I feel like they're able to see the field. Now, here's the thing. You might ask yourself, how would Dean Pease utilize a Chase Surratt? I think talking 3-4, 4-3 versatility, I do see Sage Surratt being kind of that Swiss Army knife that maybe if we miss out on a Michael Parsons that we can find in later rounds from the standpoint that on 3rd down, this guy is maybe a 4-5, 4-4, 4-5 guy. So he does give you the versatility to be able to blitz him on 3rd downs. And being a 4-5 guy, it does show that he has some coverage ability. So there may be some versatility with this guy that I think that now, to be honest with you, he is a little bit raw to the position, being converted in college, maybe a bit of an overachiever. Could be a reach, but I do think that he is a player that just with his measurables and just kind of, the way that he can dominate a game at times, we could find a guy like that, put him on our defense. And I think Dean Pease will have fun molding this guy into, a pretty good linebacker. But that's what I got. I don't know, guys. What you think?
The one thing that jumped out at me when I was you sent me the name, and I was like, all right, I had to admit that I didn't know much about the guy. So, hopped on YouTube, did what we do, right? Tried to, catch a little bit of film on him during my lunch break. The size bothers me a little bit at linebacker, being that we already have, an undersized linebacker essentially in Deion Jones. But What I did like about Surratt was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had 6 sacks this past season. That really, showed me that the defensive coordinator, you figured out how to use him and when best to use him, and knowing like what I'm starting to at least learn about Pease and the system that he runs. He's not like pigeonholed or beholden to one position, so to speak. Like certain guys need a slamming secondary. Certain guys need amazing defensive fronts, defensive lines. Pease really seems like he'll make work whatever he's got, in a sense, right? So I do agree with the fact that if this is a guy that is drafted, I believe that Pease could get the best out of him. But if I'm adding to the linebacker group, I would more like to add somebody like a Parsons who gives you something a little different than what we already have. I feel like you have the Surratt guy in Deion Jones already, potentially in Michael Walker already. And so I would just like, a little bit more beef, so to speak.
Oh, this is a good one tonight. Everybody ain't agreeing. No group night.
Yes. Tonight. I love it. I love it.
We just like I said, a little bit different show than normal. Stu, we appreciate you tipping us $5. I'm gonna go ahead and read your question.
Stu, again.
What if we offload MR2 to save $21 million? What if no Maddie going into the draft? Would that change your approach? Some of those questions are going to be answered tomorrow. I got a Falcon Eye View coming out tomorrow that I hope y'all check out. We got a real special guest on from Spotrac, the website Spotrac. He answers a lot of those questions, so I would encourage you, Stu, to check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and call it. You're not moving Matt Ryan this year. So, but anyway, so back to you, Mike. I do like that pick, guys. Do y'all got anything else y'all want to add on to Surratt? No.
I don't have much to say there, but I will say this because I've heard you guys mention it before, especially Jimbo. You don't like converted guys as much, especially with Dan Quinn changing so many guys over from one position to another position. And Surratt would be definitely a guy that has made a switch. Yes, he has been a quarterback previously before in his lifetime. And he switched over to linebacker. But like JR was saying, we've already got those guys on his team, just like y'all was saying about Andre Cisco. So it's kind of similar, same thing.
All right. So we will move on from Mr. Chaz and go to you, Mr. Jimbo. Who are you picking?
What you got, Jimbo?
Okay, look here, man. I want Grady Jarrett. I mean, we got to get Matt Ryan some help, but I want to get Grady Jarrett some help. I think it's about that time. You got a couple of guys to come in and don't failed on him. They ain't treating him good over there, and we ain't getting rid of him. For the people that's putting out on Twitter that we're not. So you can close that door. I'm going with Jay Tufuli, the defensive tackle out of USC. 6'3", 315 pounds, red shirt junior.
Boy.
Now, this is the thing about my guy. This is the thing about my guy now. He got pure athleticism, his quickness, but the number one thing for all defensive linemen from Pop Warner all the way to the NFL, you got to have a fast get off. If your get off is up there is A1, you can play at any level. And this guy get off is top notch. I swear. At 6'3", 315 pounds with that type of get off, and he can play anywhere on the line, anywhere you put him. He can play he can play all 3 downs as well. So, and my guy command a double team. What Grady Jarrett always do game in and game out, he commands a double team. What if you got 2 guys there that commands a double team? Pease will love that. You'll open up some more. You can open up one-on-ones for one of these guys. Gonna get a one-on-one. Now he can also play the 4-eye. He can also play that shade, the one shade right there, right outside of the nose, and he's a 3. He's a true 3 technique now. He's a true 3. But in a 3-4, he can play either one of them, and he's fast. his instinct is there. Now the only knock that he cannot identify the run blocking scheme as it's happening, right? Okay. So if somebody pulling or something like that, he cannot, if it's a trap or something, he can't identify that as fast as he's supposed to. But if Dan P's there, P's can help him develop that skill. I think that's a really small knock for somebody that's that big, that fast, and got that get off like that we want now. And he uses his hands. So he's kind of falling to the side because when it comes, but he's good in the run game, but he just cannot identify the run blocking scheme. You probably should have learned that in high school, Jay, big guy, big man, big fella. But he makes up with it with his speed. So if he can learn a blocking scheme and identify it before it happened, this guy could be a really good pickup in the third. Now, I don't know how y'all feel about this, but that's who I'll take in the third, and he was there. It's funny that when I did that mock after we did with our simulators, he was there. So I took him, and I like him, man. I think he'll be a good pair with Grady Jarrett, especially in the 3-4 when he can play all the positions on the defensive line. Versatile.
I'll say this, like the defensive tackles coming out of USC these past few years, they ain't been no slouches. You know, they may not have been necessarily world beaters, but I mean, Leonard Williams is, a real good player. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get it wrong, but wasn't it one of the guys out of San Francisco? Was it DeForest Buckner? No, he was an Oregon guy.
Mm-hmm. He was
anyway, like they've had a few defensive linemen come out these past few years that have caught my eye. So when you sent that name over, I was like, all right, yeah, give me a big. Is he a Polynesian fella? Because he looked.
Oh yeah, that's straight up.
That's what I thought. Yeah, you give me a nasty Samoan defensive lineman, I'll take it all day long.
All day.
I agree, and I think when you use the words fast get off, Dean Pease runs, like I said, I know his ability to identify and diagnose plays. I think with a good defensive coordinator like Dean Pease, that's workable. I think if a guy like that is around in the third round, we take him because he makes your defense meaner from day one. Yeah. To be honest with you, if we can utilize Grady Jarrett on the outside, which is what we tried to do a lot last year. You notice that. We played Grady Jarrett everywhere. Exactly. We tried to hide him, but we couldn't. And a guy like that to push Grady Jarrett to the outside, that makes your defense stronger up the middle. And you know what? That's one of the biggest areas that we really don't touch on a lot. We really don't touch on that interior defensive line a lot with this DMP. So I think, if that guy's available, we got to take him. I'm 100%.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Toby, you got any thoughts on that before we move on?
He give you great goal line stance ability. I can tell you that. Having a guy like that, when you need someone to stop you from getting in on 1 yard line, I think he's a perfect fit. I watched him last night, and I love him. I love how he handles, the offensive line up front. Whoever this guy is, he's gonna get in there and deal with it. Now, I'm not too worried about him diagnosing, run support or whatnot, because Dean Pease has already told us that he's going to use guys according to their strengths and what they can do. And if he knows this guy's not a guy he wants to put out there and run defense, he ain't putting him out there. Right. But you definitely need a guy like that to get out to Tom Brady. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. I like it. I like the pick. Yeah, when it came across last night on the chat, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a good one right here.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good one. All right, so I guess it's left up to just me at the bringing up the third, bringing up the last pick of the third round, the fourth. Anyway, okay. So the guy I'm going with, I was honestly looking at this simulator. I was shocked and surprised that he was there. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I don't think he's gonna be there come the third round. So as soon as I unveil it, I know that, the chat's probably gonna think I'm crazy. But in this particular simulator, he was there, so I jumped all over it. It's Trevon Moehrig out of TCU. As far as Daniel Jeremiah is concerned, he's the best safety in the draft. Okay, when I watch tape on this guy, man, he is 6'1", 200-something pounds. He is got long arms, and those help him recover like so much ground. He at times at the safety position for TCU, he would also mirror and travel with the number one receiver on the opposing team. How many times have you heard a safety doing that? Okay. I mean, we are really getting into the age of the positionless player. Like, it's really going to come down to, are you a D lineman or do you play behind the D line? Because, like, linebackers are playing like safeties. Safeties are playing like corners. Corners are playing like linebackers. It's crazy back there. And this guy right here, if it's comes down to where we're going to have to lose potentially Keanu Neal and Demonte KZ and possibly Ricardo Allen, like if all we're left with is Sherrod Eastman and Jalen Hawkins, then bring me this guy and you plug him in with Dean Pease, and just to me, you watch the back end of this defense start to solidify with a second-year AJ Terrell and this guy Morig coming in and just shutting down. Like TCU plays a lot of single high safeties. They have another safety out there, Darius Washington out there at TCU, who's coming out as well, who is just as versatile. Good. These guys were interchangeable, and I absolutely loved watching Morig like tackling in space. Was something he didn't have any issues with. The only thing that bothered me from time to time was sometimes it didn't look like he took great angles, like in diagnosing plays. But I'm sure maybe that's something. But hey, look, how long did my mind has went blank. Deku, that's it. How long did Deku live in this league not taking good angles? You know what I'm saying? So, but that's my pick. What are y'all's thoughts on Morig?
Hey, I'll say it real quick. True lockdown safety. You don't use this word often, but a lockdown safety. You named it, man. Like, he can cover your receivers. I think he fills the alley as well as any safety that I've seen. I think that if Trevon Morig is on the board, we can't miss our Jeremy Chan or our Antonio Winfield in this draft. I feel like Morig is the closest guy to those guys, and if he's there, JR, if he's there in the third round, we celebrate. We play golf. The next day.
I agree.
Y'all celebrate that.
And we're going to close out the show tonight. We're running through some of these chat questions. I know we haven't gotten into the chat as much as we normally do, but like I said, this is a different show. This is the Draft House, So a lot of people, I think this is the safety seems to be heavily on our minds, and a lot of people in the chat are very curious to see what Jalen Hawkins is going to bring, and I am as well, because I think he could develop into a real good player, but we're going to need more than just Jalen Hawkins and Sherrod Eastman. That much is for sure. All right, so we're going to move on to the fourth round, and we're going to do this in a snake method. Since I was the last one, I'm going to go ahead and start off the fourth round, and then we'll work our way backwards, right?
Let's go.
Anyway, fourth round pick. Now, I did a video featuring this guy earlier, so I may have kind of cheated a little bit, but regardless, I like him. So he was there, and I, felt like I was going to take him, right? This draft ended up being, at least for me, a little bit more offensive heavy than I initially thought. But again, like I said, we didn't have much control over the first two rounds. But anyway, fourth round, I pick up Madre Stevenson out of Oklahoma. The 250-pound back, or 247-pound, 6-foot-tall mountain of a dude who, like, I know Arthur Smith said that you're not just going to find a Derrick Henry in every draft. That's as close as you're going to find a Derrick Henry in this draft. This man is big. He is hard to take down. He will, he reads the holes well as far as, like, the outside run developing plays. Somebody said you highlight people's... I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so, but Stevenson... In doing the film breakdown that I did for the Falcon Eye View earlier, a couple weeks back, the one thing I noticed is that just like Henry, when he's in open space, you can just about forget about it. Like, if you don't get him around the ankles, he's running through arm tackles, and he is faster than it seems. Like, it's almost like an effortless speed, because it don't look like he's moving. But the next thing you know, he's 30 yards downfield. and I really, really liked him. And I think one of the problems, Adam Holloway just brought it up in chat. I think one of the problems that has kept Quadre Olison off the field may be his pass protection. I'm not sure. I'm just taking a guess, right? But one thing I saw with Stevenson, that man will lay somebody out. I saw him more than once lay out defensive ends and put them on their butt. As far as rookies coming in, I always say that's the easiest way for a running back to be able to get on the field is to be able to pass block. Well, pass blocking definitely ain't a problem with this fella. And I will leave it at there. Do y'all got anything y'all want to add to that?
I'm jumping on this first because I'm getting fired up. I really appreciate it, JR. This is a really good one. I've been waiting. It's a really good one. Now. Listen to me. When you want a hit stick, you want somebody to get punched in the mouth and set the tone. Look at this picture JR got up. The man ain't got no gloves on. This is old school running back type of running back, right? So this is what I want, right? I want the physicality. This is ankle tackle, shoestring tackle, trying to tackle me below the waist is not going to take me down. You got to come with it when you see this guy coming at you. A defense, like JR said, once he get past the defensive line and the linebacker, you can pretty much forget about it because nobody don't want none of this smoke. This guy loves the game. His pass blocking, oh man, he work at it the best. I'm only thinking that he's gonna get better by time training camp get here because he like to work. He like the game of football. This is a running back, y'all. This is a football player. I like to call. Like I said, no gloves on. Look at the picture. I love when people get punched in the mouth, and this guy brings a defensive aspect to the offensive side of the ball, right? He want to be physical, and he want to punch you straight in your mouth and set the tone. I love this pick, JR. I appreciate you giving me fired up. And, man, I would love to see this guy in the Atlanta Falcons uniform because it's a full steam ahead with this guy. All gas, no brakes like some of the people that like to say it. But I like this guy. And you can get him in the 3rd and 4th round. No question.
He's going to be there for sure. I mean,
hey, and I'm going to tell you right now, let me tell you something. Hey, Ramondre Stevenson is your granddaddy's running back, to be honest with you. He reminds me of, listen, your granddaddy might know the running back by the name of Frank Okoye. Running back for the Chiefs, the night train. He was running through people. The Nigerian Nightmare. There you go. The Nigerian Nightmare. Appreciate it. The Nigerian Nightmare. I'm telling you, this guy is a slasher. He is a guy that will get the other team. He will get your team fired up with a block at least once a game.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like he's a guy that, like, listen, whether it's cold, it's hot, it doesn't matter the temperature. That's a football player, and we need a football player at the running back position to make some of those nasty runs and get us some of those extra runs. He is a 3rd and 2 machine. And we need a 3rd and 2 machine.
I mean, you pair this guy with an Ito Smith. You let Ito Smith be the scat back, you know, catching dump offs and wheel routes and stuff like that coming out of the back end, you know, coming out of the backfield, and you let this guy just absolutely cause, you know, the defense to decide if they want to make business decisions or not. You know what I'm saying? You know, flat out. And, you know, for all the people, like I said, like Fred Butts and some other guys are throwing out other running back names, you know, just realize like those names like ETN, Najee Harris, Javon Williams, Michael Carter, all those guys were gone already by the time, you know, I picked, you know. So it's but I, you know, doing that show for the film breakdown earlier this you know, a couple weeks ago, I really fell in love with Ramondre Stevenson and the way the way that he runs. Like you said, Jimmy, very old school, and I like it quite a bit. All right, Jimmy, you are up next, sir. Who do you have in your 4th round pick?
And with the 4th round pick for the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to the secondary. And chat, y'all knew it. JR, Toby, Mike, y'all knew I was going to stay away from that secondary for too long. Now I'm back at it, and I'm going Paris forward out of the University of Pittsburgh, 6 foot 190, aggressive, urgency. I mean, ball skills, range. Now his knock to kind of like Morig a little bit. He got to fix his angles, man. We don't need another Deku. You got to fix your angles. But with this guy, he's versatile. So you can draft him as a safety, but that nickel and dime, I know we're going to have Sheffield there. No question about it. But nickel and dime, you can pull him down. You can disguise a lot of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You can Pease can really get creative with this guy. His athletic ability just jumped off the screen. Now he's a split zone type of guy. And when I say split zone, you got half of the field, this side of the field, and that side of the field. He can play that to the T. If you cut it now, if he got to play full field, both sides by himself, he's a little suspect. Yeah. And that's kind of why I want Cisco can do that a little more better than him. But for his athletic ability and just being in position, Cisco get caught out of position. This guy's always in position, but he barely missed the play. He barely missed the interception. He barely missed that fumble that causing that fumble. But this is the thing about it. If he don't get the interception, you're not catching the ball. Ricardo Allen, think about this now. Ricardo Allen read a flea flicker. He read it to the T. He was there in position, and the guy still caught the ball. Pass forward can pick that flea flicker up, right, and read it and be in position. But if Ford don't intercept it, he's not going to let you catch it, kind of like what Ricardo Allen did in that one game. Y'all know that flea flicker game I'm talking about. Now, he don't have as many interceptions as Cisco, which is why some people will go with Cisco over Ford. Right. But I like a guy that's going to be in position, especially with Pease. Pease can teach him how to capitalize on the ball when he's in position at the point of contact. And that's what I like about Ford. He's always in position. He just don't have them turnover numbers to portray how good he is, but he stay in position. He need to fix his angles now. You got to fix your running game angles, but Pease can fix that. Now, think about this. We are good to have a defensive coordinator that we have because we can take people like this in the draft with little bitty flaws that we know Pease can fix. Mm-hmm. And so I like this guy in the 4th round. He was there. I took him. Had to. Athletic ability, smart guy. Hey, urgency at that safety. You gotta have urgency. Some Rico Allen just did not. He was smart, but that urgency wasn't there. Right. What y'all thoughts on that, fellas?
The film that I watched on him, again, like I said, trying to, catch up on some of these guys, and Chris Jameson in chat said it as well. One thing I noticed, Ford comes with intentions. He's a hard hitter, and I like that. He likes to try to, dislodge the ball, stuff like, anybody coming with those kind of intentions, I got no problem with. I agree with you on the angles thing. That seems to be a theme with these young safeties that I'm hoping a guy, a guy like Pease and his coaching staff can hopefully correct those type of issues. Toby, Mike, what y'all got on that?
Toby, what you got, baby?
One thing I noticed about Paris Ford when I first watched him, remember he was one of the guys I said I won't start watching as far as the safety pass last week. He don't let the ball hit the ground. Mm-hmm. If he can make a play on that ball, he's definitely going to get up under that joker. Like, some guy they get the quarterbacks get the ball blocked and it hits the ground on most people, but he's an exception to the rule in that area, and that's one of the things that jumps out to me. And you need that type of guy when it comes to that crunch time play that just got to be made some kind of way. He's definitely, now I give him that, he's definitely a guy that can be in position to make almost hit the ground play on a interception in his hands.
Mike?
Well, I'm a little bit bullish on Paris Ford. I'll be honest with you, Jimbo. I respect your analysis of Paris Ford because I think that he is a hard hitter. I do think that he is a hard hitter, but I think here's the thing. I'm not really sold on his ability to take good angles and not have targeting penalties that could hurt us, just with the way that he plays the game. To be honest with you, I do like a good old school throwback safety, but I do think in this spread NFL, he will get caught out of position a little bit more than I would like, and I think if you look at his tape, you see a guy that, like I said, as the guys have alluded to, made a lot of plays, big hitter, doesn't let the ball hit the ground. But you also see some plays where he is caught out of position, and I think that it will require a little bit of coaching because players that are usually aggressive or over-aggressive, if they don't learn to refine their technique, they start getting fined, stuff like that. Because that really is is kind of the mark of a player in the league. It's like you come in with bad intentions, but when you get a $50,000 fine, do you still continue to play football at that same level? Right, you know what I mean? So I think I do like the pick of Paris Ford, but I do, if I'm honest, I looked at Paris Ford, I looked at Andre Cisco, and I also looked at Richard LeCount. And I do think that Richard LeCount is a little bit of a smoother, a little bit more elegant at the safety position for what we're looking for, and also a Hamza Nasruddin as well. I did have higher grades on those guys because, like I said, Hamza's 6'4", 220. We need guys. We need guys to fill holes. So, but yeah, I do like
at this junction. I don't know if I turn much any of them away. All right, so
right.
Mike, you are on the clock now. It is the fourth round. Who you got?
Okay, so like I said, I just got at Jimbo about the secondary pick, but I do feel him with the standpoint that we do need to stay in the secondary. The secondary has to be a point of emphasis in the offseason with free agents as well as the draft. But the guy that I have is, and I've spoken about him on the show a couple of times, is Israel Mukuamu, cornerback, 6'4", 205 from the University of South Carolina, second team All SEC, physical guy. Tough at the point of attack. I think that, he I forgot who we were speaking about earlier in the show, but he is a guy that if you look at his tape, he has made big plays against a lot of the who's who in the SEC. I think, he took over the Georgia game a couple of years ago. And the one thing I noticed about him is he is a willing tackler and he's physical. And to be honest with you, he does give me vibes a little bit of Brandon Browner, a little bit, just a big, fluid corner, a strider. I think if he gets his hands on the ball, he's quicker than most people realize. So I think he could do dangerous things. I think that if you could get a guy like that to pair with AJ Terrell, that would give you two young corners over 6 feet, that I think will challenge a lot of our receivers from the outside and cause teams to try to beat us in ways that they don't normally do. So Israel Mukuamu, that's my fourth round guy. Guys, what y'all
I'm gonna have to leave this one, y'all, for sure, because that name will come across the chat, and I was like, who? I'll be flat out. I had not heard of this gentleman, and I didn't get a chance to look him up beforehand. So I'm gonna have to pass this one off to Jimmy and Toby.
Toby, you want somebody? Or you want me to get it?
No, I'm gonna let you have it because I'm like JR. I didn't get a chance to check this guy out. Per se, because I've been looking at so many guys trying to catch up with y'all draft house guys.
Yeah, y'all do have a couple on us guys for sure.
My head is spinning right now. I'm trying to keep it in place.
But hey, look here, it is no other people I'd rather be doing the draft house live with than Toby D and JR, the original gangster. Four horsemen. Let's go. Hey, look here, man. I like him. I like him. Yeah, you finna get me fired up because you're in the secondary again. I like him now. Don't get me wrong. Now, he got Richard Sherman written all over him, right? So, but you got to gain some weight, young man. You're a little light. If you had to guard DK Metcalf, he's gonna push you around. Look at you. Look how skinny the ball. That's my knock on him. He got to get in this weight room. Cornbread, pinto beans, collard greens, potato. We gotta get him. But his instinct, he's very instinctive in the secondary. He knows how to read plays and how to read routes. He can make up for what he don't have with his length and his size. Peas like those big corners. We know this now. This is not no mystery. Peas like those big corners. But this guy got when Peas had Jimmy Smith over there with the Ravens. Y'all know who Jimmy Smith is from the University of Colorado. He came out kind of like a Kwame. Big, but he was too skinny. Y'all seen Jimmy Smith put on weight, and boy, did he put on weight, and then he became an all-pro corner. I can see Pease putting this guy, McCormick, in and adding weight to him. You're going to have to add some weight, big dog, because these receivers in the NFL are getting bigger and big. Mike Evans and Thomas over there for the Saints, and them guys are huge, man. And then you might have to line up on Gronkowski that's split out wide on 2 feet. You might have to line up against him. But I like it, Mike. That's a nice pick. But he got to gain some weight. Hopefully, with this COVID-19 offseason type of thing that's going on, he can put on some weight but still keep that speed. And he's going to be long and tall no matter what. I like it, Mike. But he got to put on some weight, big dog.
There you go.
Love
All right,
it.
cool.
Love it.
All right, well, Toby, if you ain't got nothing else to add on to that, let's go ahead and move to Toby, your pick, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
Right. Round us out, man. Who you got?
So secondary apparently has been on all our minds because I'm staying with secondary. Now, if I'm not mistaken, where Richard Grant went to Central Florida, then
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going with a teammate of his. I'm going with Aaron Robinson out of UCF as well. Now his height is a little bit wishy-washy, depending on who you're looking at, the site you're looking at, because some have him at 5'11", some have him at 6 feet, some 6'1", but I'm going with 6 feet just to stay in the middle. The reason why I'm going with this guy, because I believe if you don't go with bringing Darqueze Dennard back, you got your guy that can come in and man the slot, especially against bigger wide receivers, which is the trend nowadays, putting bigger wide receivers in the slot. It's a lot of area that you have to cover. Now, this guy's not going to wow you with interception numbers or nothing like that, but he's going to do what you ask him to do. And if you can just get that out of a guy to give you what you ask, then I would take a guy like this in the 4th round to be able to come in and help the Atlanta Falcons deal with some of these bigger wide receivers that they're putting off in the middle. And that's the guy who I would go with, Aaron Robinson, right there at the cornerback spot in the slot.
Now
he can play outside too as well.
Yeah, he can.
I like him in the slot better.
That's a name that, like you said, I think everybody gets real focused on Richie Grant. That this gentleman Robinson kind of gets lost in the middle there. But if you watch that Richie Grant film, you can't help but not notice 27 out there, in position, making plays, doing and I think pegging the slot is a great spot for him.
Yeah.
If you don't want to bring back a Darqueze Dennard, whether it's money-wise, health issues, whatever, if you don't want to take a chance on bringing a Brian Poole back or whatnot, bringing in somebody like this, in the 4th round to start off his career filling a slot, I think would be a fantastic pick myself.
And I can agree. Now, Richie Grant. Now you went to the Senior Bowl and you put yourself up there, but you ate off of 27. You ate off of Robinson. Now, if we watch some game film, he kept you honest. And with that being said, we need an honest. This is a disciplined guy right here. He's gonna, like you said, Toby. Whatever you tell him to do, see ball, get ball, like Mike like to say. That's what this guy's going to do. He's an intelligent football player. Now, he's not a Ricardo Allen type guy. He got the athletic ability to go with the intelligence. So, Richard Grant, when you get your first check, you make sure you get number 27 some of that money. Because if you go watch some real film, you're going to see Richard Grant eating off him a little bit, taking a couple of chances, and making himself look a little bit better because he knew this guy was over the top on him. That's a good pick there. And like I said, you want a guy that's going to be a pillar in the organization. Number 27 is your guy you want to go with. Big Mike, any thoughts on him? I like him now.
I like the pick. Matter of fact, I borderline love the pick because I think when I look at who he reminds me of as an NFL player, I go with Nukel Roby, corner for the Rams. I think, like I said, athletic guy. I think the thing I like about Central Florida guys is they play a lot of under the radar good football in college. That's one thing, and they play a lot of passing teams. So I think to show up against the passing teams, to consistently make plays that teams that they're going to throw the ball 45, 50 times a game. They're not even throwing your way, but 4 or 5 times. That lets you know all you need to know about this guy. And he is again, I know we hate to use this word because we said we were not going to use this word with this regime, that versatility word. Unfortunately, he is a guy that can play inside or outside. Yeah. But honestly, like you said, Toby, I think that's a good gem that you found right there, and that's a good under the radar pick. And I see you've been doing your research, and you kind of got me fired up with that pick.
Hey, Big Mike. We can't use versatility no more. Dean P says it's got to be flexibility.
Flexibility. You got the flexibility.
Gentlemen, that does our first live mock draft type scenario. And like I said, what I want to try to do, going forward, is we're going to paint different scenarios, right? Like this week, I gave y'all basically just the 3rd and 4th round to work with. Next week, I might, or 2 weeks from now, I might hit y'all with a scenario of, trading back, or we traded this pick and did, that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to paint it because, and the reason why I want to do that, because years past, we've been able to pretty much just write the script of what was going to happen on draft night.
Right.
Well, that script is out the window with this new regime. And where we are currently sitting with the type of roster that we currently have, this draft can be anything. And like we have no blueprint going forward, and that's what makes this so intriguing. Even to the point where all night we've been chatting about this, people have been commenting on our picks and stuff like that, but they really been commenting with each other. And that's the part that I've really been sitting here enjoying listening. You know, somebody brings up, you know, of course, quarterback talk is hot and heavy right now, and will be until this draft's over with. You know, the in this particular scenario, we drafted Justin Fields in the first. Well, not we, the computer drafted Justin Fields in the first round for us. But there's going to be a debate leading all the way up to the draft. Of who would you rather have? Would you rather have, you know, Justin Fields? Would you rather have Zach Wilson? Would you rather have Trey Lance? You know, right now the comments are going back and forth about Trey Lance, talking about you know, the competition that he played against. You know, Adam Holloway's over here saying you can't scout the league, so to speak. You got to look at the player, and I tend to agree there, Adam, because a lot of your starting caliber NFL quarterbacks came from small schools. You see what I'm saying? The ones who came from the highly touted schools tends to be the ones that you know, flame out kind of quickly. Quarterback's a crapshoot anyway, right? But I kind of like looking at what they can do, and I'll make a quick, you know, point on Lance. What I liked about, you know, my film study on Lance was he was one of the few quarterbacks that I saw commanding a huddle, like running an NFL, you know, pro style offense per se, you know, and actually like moving protections and doing the things that you want your pro quarterback to do. Now, the escaping the pocket, the strong arm, the strength in general of the quarterback is amazing as well. But it's the small intangible things that really drew me to Lance. You know, like I said, the way he commanded the huddle, he's not looking to the sideline for the play. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, they call it in. He flips open his little wrist thing, and I saw him audible, check down, stuff like that. Like all the intangible things that you like to, all the small nuance type stuff. But, gentlemen, I didn't think we were going to do it, but we have bumped up over an hour.
No.
Yes, sir. I am shocked. I am shocked and chagrined, sir. I thought to myself that, boy, it was going to be tough to pull 30 minutes, but here it is, well over an hour. And we really didn't even get into a chance to get into chat. So that's kind of, so I want to take a few questions before we get off this, because I don't like.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
I don't like not being able to, you know, talk to the crowd, so to speak. Chris Jameson says, draft a QB at 4 or trade back and get another first in 2022. I mean, I think there's a strong argument to be made for all of it. Like drafting a quarterback, trading back, doing whatever. Like that's what makes this offseason so fun. If it was up to y'all, if you had a trade on the table and it was take a quarterback or trade down, what would you do?
Go ahead, Toby.
I'm trading down. I'm trading down. I just think that this is the draft that you should do that. I mean, you got some defensive help in the draft, but it's not an all-starish, to me, Hall of Fame type defensive draft like it's been in most years. So I think this is a year that you take advantage and you trade down and get some more value picks and some value players at, you know, certain positions that you want to stack on your roster.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. I think that's what I got too.
I mean, I second that motion, and I'm gonna give y'all a little homework, Pound4Pound ATL. Do research on the last quarterback that won a Super Bowl, that was drafted in the top 5 and the highest paid quarterback in the league. Do your research on that, because the last time that happened, I don't know when. It been forever. I almost not even Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Do your research on the quarterback that was drafted in the top 5 and was the highest paid quarterback in the league and won a Super Bowl that year. You might not find it.
That's it.
So you can go from there with
That's
that.
it. Yeah.
Go ahead. What's your thoughts on it, Mike?
Hey man, honestly, if I'm honest, if I want a guy at the number 4 pick, I want a guy that's a gold jacket. He's got to be a guy that I see with a gold jacket. Yeah. If I'm really honest, outside of Trevor Lawrence, hey, and I don't want to put that kind of pressure on Justin Fields because it's hard to gauge a quarterback. The only guy that I see capable of a gold jacket is Penei Sewell. If I'm honest, right now at number 4, to be honest with you, so I'm kind of on y'all train. We trade back, we get more depth, and we can continue to build this team through the draft and through free agency with an aggressive Terry F. Baby at the helm.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see here. Shreet Flex says Trey Lance or trade back. Take the upside and let him develop. Defensive players aren't worth getting. That's one thing I will notice, that the defensive players in this draft don't necessarily all scream first round. That's for sure. Right. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much what we got. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's another real quick question. Let's see here.
Al would say, you need to follow him back, Jay.
Oh, I thought I did.
Okay, guys.
The Grim followed me back. I thought look, I'm not the greatest at doing that,
There you go, Adam. There you go. Get him right.
I'm not the greatest at Twitter stuff. I try to do pretty good with it. But anyway, I try to stay away from that drama type stuff, that tends to follow on social media. But anyway.
No question about it.
All right, gentlemen. Well, man, this was fun. This was a lot of fun.
It was good, man.
Chat, I really hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all check out the Falcon Eye View tomorrow. That's coming out. Like I said, we got I did an interview with a gentleman from Spotrac. I think y'all really enjoy. It was fun for me to listen to. Listen to me. Anyway, as always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I will probably follow you back. It's Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Jimmy?
You can catch me on Twitter at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Stupid Pepperhead, Adams, and Wallace Smith. What's up, Wallace? Right, Go ahead.
Toby?
Hey, man. Go ahead, Toby.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, man, real quick, your boy Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. I follow back. I do a lot of retweeting. I be real busy, but hey, listen, man, y'all keep hitting my inbox because y'all got good topics, and we appreciate you as always. Toby D, talk to him.
Toby D, 1991, baby.
Yes, sir.
Now, and as we said before, our all-season schedule is we're going to be flip-flopping. Next Wednesday, we'll just have our regular pound for pound, more focused on just the team in general. And the weekend after that, we'll do another draft house, obviously. But that's what we got. Appreciate y'all. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.